Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and all you freaking nerds. We are Digital Waypoint, and we are super excited for our first episode of our podcast. Mm-hmm. My name is Noah. I'm excited. I'm sitting here with my boy Mason. Mason, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
He's feeling good. He looks even better.
Oh, yeah.
Looks cute, in fact. So yeah, we're going to be talking about a lot of video game stuff, and we're just going to get right into it. Today, we're going to be talking about the new Pokemon announces that came out, I guess, a week ago today.
Yeah.
Today is March 5th. And we got some news that was both super expected and news that was horribly unexpected. I say horribly, but I don't mean that's the wrong adjective. It was very unexpected, but it was
not
good.
a bad thing. Yeah, it was a good surprise.
So before we get into all that, like I said, we are Digital Waypoint, and play that freaking intro, baby. Man, let me tell you something. That is a banger of a song. If you like that song, you're going to love my boy, A Cloudy Sky. ACLOUDYSKYE. The dude is freaking dope. He seems like a really awesome guy, and he's got a ton of just fantastic music. So hit him up. He's definitely on Spotify. I'm assuming he's on other things. Go hit him up. You're going to like what he is releasing. All right. With that in mind, last Friday was a big day for a lot of people that were really excited. What was your take on it, Mason?
So, first off, I'm a sucker for retro remakes. That's definitely where a majority of my interest lies in games in general. So, these are also Pokemon games that I didn't get to play growing up, which is Diamond and Pearl. So now we got Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Objectively, the worst of the two names.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pearl's always gotten the shaft.
Shining Pearl. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to these. As you know, I like the chibi art style. I know you don't, but I liked the Link's Awakening art style. I like the toy art style. So these are definitely a day one purchase for me. I've never been one to get both games in a Pokemon series.
No, if you get both games, you're way too sweaty.
Yeah, I always just get one and
like go outside.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I always just get one. Usually, I wait for the like I played Emerald, Yellow, things like that. So usually I wait for the third game, but these are remakes. It'll probably just be these. So I'll, judging by the names, I'm going to get Diamond, Shining or Brilliant Diamond, not Shining Pearl. But yeah, and then what did you think? What did you think about Pokemon Legends? I know that was the high point for you.
That was freaking nuts. I like open world crap.
Yeah,
and I'm an RPG
guy.
Yeah, I'm an RPG guy. And so the idea of having an open world Pokemon game, I mean, it was everything that Sword and Shield was supposed to be. By the way, I'm still waiting on Pokemon Gun. Yeah, you want to talk about the best third version of a game is when Pokemon Gun comes out. That's going to be the best.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's going to be everything that Sword and Shield was supposed to be. So I'm really excited. I think it could suck. I think it could be fantastic. But honestly, I think both of these games could really tank, or they could be fantastic.
Yeah.
I think before we get into all of that, we should at least cover a baseline of where Pokemon is, sort of as games, but also where the fans are. So as games, they're trash. Sword and Shield sucked.
That sounds a bit subjective.
Yeah, it's subjective, but in a true sense.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
Sword and Shield could have been really, really good.
Yeah,
it really could have been good. The wild area was a really cool step that was implemented almost as horribly as they could have possibly implemented it.
Mm-hmm.
The story, bland. Nobody
Yeah.
cares. The
Yeah.
legendaries, like freaking Eternus, it's just a hand. It's
Yeah.
literally a hand,
Yeah.
and for some reason it's poison type. I don't freaking get it.
Yeah.
The dogs were kind of cool. A lot of the Galarian forms, I like the Galarian form. There are a number of things about Sword and Shield that I think are really cool. However, the vast majority of what Sword and Shield is poor.
Yeah.
Like just they didn't really do a lot right.
Yeah.
I
think I have a lot of negative feelings towards Game Freak when it comes to Sword and Shield anyway.
God.
Yeah, just because, I mean, and this isn't a revelation or anything like that. This is a lot of people's pain points.
Mind-blowing standpoint.
But the thing that really got to me is them saying, this is everybody's hype was so high for the first console mainline Pokemon game. Like we had Colosseums and we had Snap and we had Let's Go, but this is the first real game. And they said, we're doing all this, we're going to focus on it, and the reason we don't have the national decks is because we're doing all new animations.
We're working on animations.
They're garbage. They're straight trash.
They're not even bad. It's the fact that they're literally ported from the handheld games.
And they don't okay. The reason I say they're garbage is I'm sitting here and I'm thinking all right, listen, with a console game, I want to see Pokken, that Tekken game.
Yeah.
I want to see
not fun.
No, not fun. Yeah.
Cool concept.
Yeah. I think it's like we said earlier, I think you can play any game professionally, but I think it's actually in a military game.
It's like an actual it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah. I played it once. But but that was after we conned all of our friends into pitching in.
No,
$5.
you conned. I don't want to be included. It was your Wii U. You conned all of us into giving you $15. We played that game one time and regretted it.
Yeah, it's still on my Wii U. I still own it, but So anyway, that's what I'm wanting. Obviously, not to that extent, but I'm wanting real animations, not slide across the ground. And sometimes not even. Sometimes just move back and forth. Sometimes they don't even walk over to the other guy. They're just they buzz back and forth like on a Game Boy or something.
Yeah.
When I'm what is this? It's been 35 years, something like that. And I think 25. Yeah, 25 years.
Yeah. This is 25 year.
Yeah. So, you would think after 25 years we've gone on to something better where we can move on from things like that. And you think 25-year hype, I guess 24 years last year, or the year before, or whatever. But still, that's what I'm thinking when I think of mainline console game. If Doom can play on the Switch, why am I using handheld animations,
It's a good point. I mean, it showed the hypocrisy of Game Freak as a gaming company.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people are fed up. There was a big thing online, people trying to boycott the game by just not buying it. Then of course it did horribly because it quickly, I mean, I think it's it's the 5th most profitable game on the Switch.
Yeah, I sometimes watch this I watch Spawn Wave on YouTube, and he goes through the UK sales because that's the easiest to get over US, and sometimes Japan only releases theirs periodically.
Yeah.
But he goes over and Sword and Shield for a long time. It was Sword and Shield, Shield and Sword, just bam, bam, top 1 and 2 spots. And then they're still in the top 10.
Yeah.
When you go and look, I mean, they're still selling really high.
Yeah.
So it obviously didn't work. That wasn't a great boycott.
It's the hard thing because you slap Pokemon on anything and it's made Game Freak, Nintendo, whoever, millions of dollars.
Yeah, well, I mean, even Pokemon Mix, Pokemon whatever Cafe Mix.
Oh,
it's a game like Candy Crush.
Yeah, it's just Candy Crush Pokemon.
Yeah, it has grossed so much money. It's they have actual restaurants themed after it in Japan because of how big this game is.
Well, Pokemon just in general it's kind of shocking seeing how big it is in Japan.
Yeah.
Because around here, you talk about it in public, and you're kind of saying it under a hush voice because you don't really want to say anything like Pokemon. But then in Japan, you're like everybody is dressed up as Pikachu. I think that's all. A lot of people dress up as Pikachu.
Well, the thing is, it's the highest grossing franchise of all time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is.
It's
the number one. It beats Star Wars. It beats Marvel. And it's weird to think you're thinking like Pikachu is known by more people than if you say like Iron Man or Darth Vader. It's Pikachu.
That piss colored red.
That is. That is a more of a household name than if you say these massive icons. You know,
it's insane.
Yeah.
So the current state of Pokemon is not good. Sword and Shield, while it's sold like hotcakes, a lot of the more hardcore, which sounds really cringy to say that, but a lot of the older players,
yeah, I think it's just a lot of the older
just
fans.
didn't like it.
Yeah.
And for good reason. They routinely either said something and then didn't give it, either because they just couldn't or because they lied.
Yeah.
They shortcutted on a lot of things. The DLC, the first DLC, was not that good.
Yeah.
It introduced a lot of old Pokemon, and that was the whole. When your whole concept for creating a DLC is, we're gonna give you more of what the old games had. Yeah. That's a bad mix.
Yeah.
The second DLC was much better with the Dynamax Adventures.
Yeah.
That part was cool. But overall, even with that, I don't think that redeems the major issues of the game looking like Sin, the game playing like Sin, the game being easy as Sin.
Oh yeah.
Except for Rhydon, the whatever the dude that was the second to last gym leader.
Yeah.
He was pretty hard. But everything else is super easy. And then the animations were horrendous. Yeah. The wild area, if you played online, you're playing at like 4 FPS.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's Nintendo Online or if it's Game Freak just being idiots.
Yeah.
But you can meet anybody anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter if you're sitting on the East Coast in the U.S. You want to meet somebody in freaking like Germany? Sure, but you're gonna play the game. Like I can draw pictures faster than I'm moving when I'm playing online in the wild area. It's insane.
Yeah.
So
I think that's like, I wouldn't blame Game Freak for that, because if you've ever played,
Nintendo Online sucks. Just in general.
I mean, you know, when we play Smash, I'm constantly wanting to just throw my controller through my screen.
That's also because your internet sucks. You've got crap internet.
Well, okay, all right. That besides, have you ever watched anybody play either Super Mario Maker 2, because that was the big deal? You can play multiplayer online. It's trash. It's like 5 FPS, and it's unplayable.
Yeah.
And I don't know about Bowser's Fury, the Super Mario 3D World.
Furry.
And yeah, but I don't know how that plays. I haven't seen too much of that, but I know that, you know. So I think that Nintendo can take the hit for that one, but
regardless,
we can blame it on Game Freak.
Yeah, I'm down to blame it on Game Freak. Screw it. Yeah. So with that out of the way, that's kind of where we were.
Yeah.
I think for months, it was maybe even close to a year, it was being hyped that there was going to be Diamond and Pearl remakes, because they're remaking all of our old games. Because again, a lot of their business model is the recycling is almost as important as the new stuff.
Yeah.
Which
I would say, if not more so. Really?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially. Which for any other business other than something as large as Pokemon, horrible business model.
Yeah.
For Pokemon, doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I mean, that's true, because we've only just now started getting remakes of things from the early 2000s and 90s. Like we've gotten remasters for next gen stuff. Like, you know, The Last of Us came out on PS3, and we've got a remaster on PS4, and then Spider-Man came out on PS4. We got a PS5 remaster. So we've always had things like that. But lately we've been getting like Spyro, Crash, Ratchet and Clank, you know, things like that are actually coming back and getting redone from the ground up. Pokemon has done this from the beginning.
They did it in like 2002.
Yeah.
With
Leaf Green.
Yeah, Leaf Green, Fire Red.
Yeah.
Whenever those games came out,
yep.
This was the business model.
Yeah.
And it's insane.
Yeah.
But it works.
It does. And it works especially on me, because those are the games I buy. Sometimes I skip out on the new ones and buy the remakes.
You cuck. So that's kind of where we are. Nobody was surprised that they announced Diamond and Pearl remakes. They showed it off. Like Mason said, the art style very chibi. I've never cared for it, but it's not bad. It could be worse. I hope they fix the arms because they literally look like they're just easy ways for Nintendo to sell an amiibo of Dawn, whatever the guy's name is, and Barry. But regardless, it's the biggest thing that I think a lot of people are taking away was the fact that they routinely said faithful remake, and that's really important.
Yeah,
because as the base games, and I got Diamond and Pearl, those are the only Pokemon games that I got at launch. Diamond and Pearl by themselves aren't that good. They are nostalgic as all get out, and they have the starters, other than maybe Torterra, the starters, specifically Infernape and Empoleon, are both really freaking cool. They have a lot of other really cool Pokemon. They had a really cool story-ish. But there were just a lot of things about Diamond and Pearl that really either didn't work right because of the time or were just things that they took from the past gens that really they should not. And I think the biggest instance of taking from past gens and then just hardcore doubling down on it is everybody's favorite HMs and the fact that they decided that they were going to put through I think it's 5 HMs are needed in order to make it through Victory Road, which is insane. This game was so HM heavy that you literally had to have it's where the HM slave came from. Yeah. In Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and all the ones before it, you generally had one Pokemon that had like 1 or 2 of the HMs, but you didn't need that very many.
Yeah.
But it's like everywhere you go in these dang games, you need a freaking HM. You need everybody's favorite Bibarel for the slave. You just put all your HMs, you put them in the box, you need him, you take him out. He's like a freaking Swiss Army knife, but he looks like an idiot.
Yeah.
And so it's insane. It's really important that the term faithful is really important there because it could mean, ever since, what was it? Was it X and Y that got rid of HMs, or was it? No, I think it
might have been Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Was it not?
It was either Oras or it was
might have been X and Y.
The other ones, the Sun and Moon.
I think it was before Sun and Moon when that happened.
Okay,
so
well,
I think it might have been X and Y.
It was
in that time period. Yeah,
it was either Gen 6, Gen 7. They got rid of HMs.
Yeah,
probably the best decision that they had made up to that point.
Yeah.
And so, if we're talking faithful, and that was something that they said was faithful remake.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like an Oras at least. Yeah. It seems.
Yeah.
Am I going to need a goddamn Bibarel to play half this stupid game that looks like a chibi BS?
Yeah. Well, I think the article that I'm reading here says that it is a faithful remake, but they're going back and making like player-friendly conveniences, updates. So they, from what it sounds like, they'll be removing the HMs. But it is worth noting that the same director from Diamond and Pearl is directing these games, so it's probably going to have the exact same story. Where we're usually, when we get the remastered remakes, the story's a little like, it's the same thing, but it's kind of like a mirror. It's a little bit different. The world's a little bit different. Things are going on, and usually post game is pretty different too.
Yeah.
But with these, like they said, they went with the chibi art style because that's how the director saw. They didn't have they were limited when he made Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
But that's what he was seeing.
Really?
So it says right here in this Newsweek article, let's see here. It says The art style is vastly different from Sword and Shield. The author of this likens it to not Detective Pikachu, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which I don't think it looks at all like that.
What?
At all like
Did
that.
he really say that?
Yeah. It says, I liken it to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but with some differences. It's like, those are pretty vast differences, my guy. So he's only played those 2 games, I guess. I don't know. So out of these 2, it looks more like Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah.
But it says that it keeps its top-down look that fans of the game were used to from the original Nintendo DS versions, and this is how the director, was originally envisioning what he wanted. So that's why they went with the chibi art style. And then 2, when we're talking about faithful remakes, I did see some things about how people on Twitter have been catching some things about things from Platinum, like some content from Platinum.
Yeah, I mean, that was that's another really big thing that we don't know is the addition of Platinum content, because that's really important. Because if you don't know, generally Pokemon comes out with the 2 versions, and then in like a year or 2, they come out with like, they learn what went right and what went wrong, and then they come out with like a 3rd one, and it's generally perceived to be the best of the 3.
It's the equivalent of like waiting if like Mortal Kombat or Injustice or a fighting game, I guess even Street Fighter or something comes out, and you're just waiting for that Ultimate Edition like 2 years later.
Yeah,
and you get everything, and it's the better edition. Yeah,
it's basically a massive patch.
Yeah,
but buy the game separately. Yeah, because Nintendo says you can suck their nuts. They're allowed to do.
They know you're going to buy all 3.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to buy all 3. Oh my God, I'm going to buy one of them, and I'm going to buy the 3rd one. Yeah. But in Emerald's case, that was exactly how it worked. Emerald is by far the best of the 3. Same thing with Platinum. Yep. They started to kind of get away with Black and White, Black 2, White 2. Then they just started making. They went a step further, and they made version exclusives of version exclusives. So, like, instead of having the 3rd game where you kind of get a mix of both, they just decided they were going to overhaul the absolute hell out of one of them. Yeah. And it's you're still not going to get all the Pokemon that you want, because Nintendo Daddy says so. Yeah. And it's insane. And so, like, that's you bring up a good point, is like, it's really important to know, are we going to get Platinum changes? Are we going to get the Platinum Pokedex? Because the Diamond and Pearl Pokedex is not good. Yeah. Like, nobody likes it. The fact that the only fire Pokemon that you can get in the entire game, fire Pokemons, I know that didn't come out right, was Infernape and his line. And I'm looking at the Pokedex now, and I'm pretty sure the only other one is Ponyta. I saw that I can't remember. I think Pearl got like Houndoom and Dower. Yeah. But on Cerebi, just the Diamond and Pearl Cinerex, the only 2 fire are Infernape and Ponyta, which is just bad game design. That's bad game design. There's nothing else to it. There are a lot of problems with how the game worked and the tunnel system, which it looks like they're bringing back. I think that was in the trailer.
I think so, yeah.
Which could be better, but again, if I'm gonna get paired up with some freaking dude over in China, and my ping is gonna like skyrocket to like 600, I'm gonna get 4 FPS. There's no point. So there were things like that. There was I'll tell you, I'm a big fan of Milotic. I think it's a really cool Pokemon. You look like you don't know who that is. No. Milotic was the evolution of a really ugly Pokemon, Feebas, and the only way that you could get it was if you fished in like 6 tiles. You had a 5% chance.
Hang on. Oh yeah, do you know who this is?
It's the pretty snake.
It's because everybody that I grew up with said melodic, not Milotic.
They're horrible at phonetics then, because there's no freaking way it's melodic.
Okay. like a melody, dude. Yeah, I was always like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my Pokemon Go. One of my buddies or something like that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's shiny. Fantastic.
Mhm.
But it was super hard to get,
Mhm.
and it was super hard to get the pre-evolution of Feebas. It was even harder to get a Milotic. To evolve it, you had to do the stupid puffins and the contest show where you dress them up in funny dresses and you make them dance by pressing buttons. Like are they gonna bring that crap back? Which I think a lot of people want.
Yeah,
If you can't hear by the cadence of my voice, I don't give a flying crap about it.
Yeah,
because I don't care. I want a hard Pokemon game, which just by looking at it, this game doesn't look like it's gonna be that hard.
No, and that's something that I miss about the older games is that they were hard. Like when. So I told you my first really experience. Like I had played them and I had watched the anime and I had watched all stuff like that and played them at friends' houses and played the Coliseum games, but I hadn't really played from start to finish on one until like I guess it's been like almost 10 years ago now because I was about 15. But yeah, I didn't start in the late 90s and early 2000s like everybody else. So my first one was Fire Red on an emulator on my iPhone. And playing that was hard. Like
it's
to
hard.
play through even to get through the first gym, you had to go back and grind and get your Pokemon leveled up to where you could get. Because what is it? The first gym is Brock, I think.
I never played the first gen.
Pretty sure.
To be completely honest.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it's the Rock gym.
Brock.
And
I know it's
so
Brock.
you have to. I chose Charmander.
Yeah, you probably got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah. Well, see, like I had to go until I got Steel Scratch or whatever it is, and one of the moves that let me actually have any effect on them because I had fire and I had normal moves, and like my normal move was Scratch, so I had to go back and grind, and that's not something that I've had to do with any of these recent other games. So I do miss it. Like I would like to have somewhere in the middle. That was a little frustrating to just go back and run around in the grass until I leveled up, but. I think there's a good middle ground they could find. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's definitely a middle ground. And Sword and Shield also fell into most of the Pokemon games, the company is designed and geared towards kids.
Yeah.
So they're going to make the games easy.
Yeah.
Which is understandable.
Guess what? Kids don't have the money to buy your products. I do.
Yeah.
You need to make this for me.
Honestly, like, I think if they just added a hard mode.
Yeah.
Like that would simplify it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you almost have any sort of legitimate difficulty, you have to put self-imposed challenges on these games.
Yeah.
And
they sort of do with like the different things you can go through. And I don't know, Sword and Shield didn't have that many side things to do either.
No, Sword and Shield had jack. And I mean, the game looks like it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm personally not as excited about the remakes. I think it's going to be cool. I'm definitely going to buy it because I am super nostalgic.
Yeah.
So those are going to be the big things that we really are going to be trying to look out for is like, how faithful are we talking? Like, are Diamond and Palkia just going to be, or Dialga and Palkia, are they just going to be Dialga and Palkia?
Yeah.
Like, are they,
or are we going
to have new, same thing. Like that. I mean, it's another thing is talking about, if we're going to get, what were they called? Max Evolutions or whatever?
Yeah, so we had Mega Evolutions, which was I loved about
cool.
Omega Ruby,
that was the coolest
Alpha Sapphire.
Gimmick.
Yes,
that Pokemon has come up with.
I loved the
dope.
Mega Legendaries. They were so cool.
Yeah.
Then we had Z moves, X and Y Z move. I'm pretty sure. No, Mega Evolution were X and Y.
Yeah,
Z move was Sun and Moon.
Sun and Moon.
Yeah,
which is boring.
Yeah, boring. But then you want to talk real boring? We'll go Dynamax.
God.
So
the laziest freaking gimmick. Just make them big. That's it. You get like 5 Pokemon, and they're all Charizard, and they get cool things, but they don't even look cool. They just look like a fat dragon.
Yeah.
And they all suck.
Yeah. They had an event for Pokemon Day or whatever when this direct was going on. and they're like, Dynamax Pikachu is in the raids right now, and it's just fat Pikachu. It's like it's Pikachu
OG,
from Yellow.
Yeah, that was what they were going for. It was OG Pikachu.
But okay,
fat, ugly, yellow tail.
Yeah,
that's it.
Last year it was go and get Pikachu with a birthday hat. It's like, why do I want this? Why would I not want Mega Evolution Charizard where he's black and blue and he has the blue fire and he looks so cool? Like,
yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
Hot take.
Well,
Charizard's overrated.
Okay, yes, I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
But he was cool, and I think his Smash move not Mega Evolution anymore? It was in 4.
I don't remember at all.
I don't remember. I don't ever play Smash with.
I think no, they did
the
they probably did the 3 of them. They did like a try
Pokemon
attack.
Trainer again.
Yeah, back in a Pokemon Trainer.
Yeah,
so they probably did that.
But they probably did. But in Smash 4, it was Mega Charizard. That was his evolution, or that was his that was his final move because they knew. Guess what? He didn't turn into Dynamax Charizard. He turned into Mega Evolution.
He didn't turn into fat white bellied Charizard.
Anyway.
So it could, that's another big thing is like, there's got to be a gimmick. There's no way that these games cannot have a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, I've seen a lot of people talk about, I didn't even think about this. I've watched a lot of people's, quote, honest impressions on YouTube.
Honest opinions.
Honest opinions.
Yeah.
I don't know why they have to preface, these are my honest opinions. None of that fake stuff. They're honest. Like, it doesn't make any sense. No. It's whatever. There's an issue of compatibility. X and Y were able to battle, I'm pretty sure, against Sun and Moon. I'm not 100% sure.
I know X and Y were against Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I don't know about Sun and Moon.
Well, if basically the biggest thing is an argument against the Nat Dex.
Yeah. Because
Sword and Shield doesn't have the Nat Dex because they just got lazy.
Yep.
And so, like, if they were to put some sort of a national Dex, I mean, they've already got, like, a bunch of Pokemon that aren't in Sword and Shield. So I don't know how they're, like, if they're going to be able to battle, like, or if Diamond and Pearl looking like a toy is going to even have anything close to a battle, or if you're just going to, like, talk about this game could suck. It could suck real bad.
It could. And I don't know. So speaking of games that could suck, are we moving on to Pokemon Legends?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of looking back at all the things on the remakes that we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know how faithful it's going to be. We don't know about Platinum. We don't know how difficult. Well, okay, we can pretty much ascertain how difficult it's going to be.
Yeah.
We don't know gimmicks. We don't know compatibility.
Yeah.
This game, I think if it's too faithful, could absolutely, I mean, it'll probably end up top 15 in the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
But
just because it has a Pokemon name on it.
Exactly.
Easy. Yeah.
But it could suck, and it could push a lot of people away.
Yeah.
So that's the remakes. If we move on to Legends, which I was sitting on a toilet, and I was watching this thing live, and I saw that, I was a little bit late, and I saw somebody say, like, "Oh, Diamond remake."
Yeah, I did too.
Confirmed. And I was watching it, and then all of a sudden they just keep talking.
Yep.
And I was like, "Why are we talking? What are we doing?" And then when that trailer came out, when I tell you that anything that was left inside was put on the outside, it was intense.
Yeah.
Like, and I said this. I'm a big RPG guy, and so the idea of an actual open world Pokemon game, if it can be done, right, it can. I think just if they're able to make the Pokemon actually feel like they're alive in the world and not Sword and Shield where they just are big, and they walk around and then they disappear.
Yeah.
Like if they could actually make it so that it looks like a Bibarel is walking around all goofy and stupid.
Yeah.
If a Piplup is sliding around in the water, if you've got Staravia and Staraptors flying around looking all intense.
Yeah.
This could be insane.
Yeah. So it could be great. It could be trash.
Could be horrible.
Could be awful. So yeah, you're right. Like, it looks like they said they saw Breath of the Wild come out because this has been in development. I assume now probably since Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild 2 probably come out, fingers crossed, later this year. Probably next year. I don't see how it's possible to come out this year, but you never know. So this is probably, they jumped into development like right after, and which I was shocked at this. I genuinely thought their side games were going to be Let's Go. I thought we were going to have Let's Go sequels. When I saw this, I was thinking,
that'd piss. They are good. They did not that. That would piss so many people off. People hated those games.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people that like them for what they are, and I get it. They're good games for what they are, but like, I think that so many people hated those games at first because that was the first console. Like everybody was thinking, okay, Switch, handheld hybrid, they're going to give us, you know, what they gave us for Sword and Shield, but that's what everybody was thinking. It was going to be a game like this. This is what everybody has been waiting on forever. Like, this is the game that everybody, when they were kids, saw going on in their heads when they were playing Pokemon, things like that, you know. And so it'll be interesting because it looks like they're doing away with the turn-based. Like, I guess there's still battles. We saw battles. It still looks like you carry all 6.
We saw animations.
We what?
We saw animations.
Yeah, we saw animations. Like, yeah, that in itself, big deal.
Like the fact that they have animations, it's already better Sword and Shield.
Yeah. Well, this is apparently what Game Freak has been working on, because the company that did Pokemon Home is doing the remakes. Game Freak's not doing them. Yeah. So this is what they've been working on, I assume. I don't see anything about another company doing it, so I assume it was Game Freak. So, yeah, it says that this. I'm reading a Digital Trends article here, and just to kind of summarize what this is, it just says, since the series launched in 1996, the mainline Pokemon games have all allowed the same general formula, which is each entry is a turn-based RPG. You have 6 Pokemon. You travel the world. You fight in turn-based battles. And even though we've had different technical changes, graphical leaps, some better than others, many of the games are virtually interchangeable on a pure gameplay. So you could go from playing Red and you could play Sword and Shield, and you'd pretty much know how to play, even if you missed everything in between. This looks like you're not going to be able to do that. They do point out in this that it's probably not going to have gym leaders, because this is like before any of this. But that's also not a new thing, because I forgot Sun and Moon didn't have gym leaders. They had the island tribe leaders or something like that, where you fight the totem Pokemon. Yeah. Like the mini legendaries or something like that. So, and then it says, let's go Eevee and Pikachu dropped random battles in favor of the Pokemon Go style catching. So it looks like we're going to have like a hybrid of that. We're going to have Pokemon Go style where you can throw it and catch them, but if they're stronger, looks like you can battle. Yeah. But it doesn't look like, from what I've seen, that you have NPC battles. There's no trainer battles. There's not things like that. So
that's the hard part is I'm excited, and I think I'm a little too excited because they showed nothing.
Yeah. 100%.
They showed by the way, the trailer horribly janky.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Bad. I mean, a lot of people are freaking out because they're like, holy crap, that's how the game is going to look. And I think I would be super surprised if that wasn't just a compression issue when they exported the actual trailer.
Yeah. So that's a thing that happens a lot in these reveal trailers when they're live streaming them. They generally suck because they're at like 720 or lower. Yeah. And then they usually update the 4K video afterwards, which I haven't looked to see if they've done that with Pokemon, but I wouldn't be surprised. So I don't think that's that. It caught me off guard at first, but I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. I'm reading. There's a picture of a comment on Reddit by a guy June01.
June01 username or date?
Yeah, username.
Okay.
He says, so far it's vast nothingness with some Pokemon dotted around. If there are quests, dungeons, bosses, resources to gather, or anything like that, it'd be better to see a hint of that than bongling around at 2 frames a second, which is entirely valid. And then the last thing, it's a nice tech demo for a game coming in 2024.
That's.
I think it's too pessimistic, but nothing he said is wrong.
Yeah, I agree. That I hadn't thought about that, about it being a tech demo. That's kind of scary, because that's a good point. What if they're just releasing this and it's basically Let's Go, but more RPG-ish and more of Breath of the Wild, but it's pretty sparse because they're going to just use it and spin up, whatever the next double Sword and Shield sequels are, That's a good point. I hope that that's not true. But if we're talking about tech demos, we got Astro's Playroom. That was a pretty good tech demo. So
we could check it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm nervous for it.
Yeah.
Because I think, and I think most people are they're either way too excited.
Yeah.
Or they're kind of sitting in this pit of uncertainty of like, man, this could be really, really cool.
Yeah.
But Game Freak has not made. I can't say that. I was gonna say Game Freak hasn't made a Pokemon game feel like it's actually alive, and they did it to an extent on like X and Y.
Yeah.
3D. They haven't made 3D worlds feel alive. They did it to an extent, X and Y.
Yeah.
The other one's Gen 7. Sword and Shield was horrendous.
Yeah.
You just had like their idea of the Pokemon live in this world. Freaking Onyx in like the first place. Just just staring at you.
Yeah.
Like, so it like I think they need to be able to create a world that feels like this isn't a video game.
Yeah.
Like if Game Freak can create a world where it's like, holy cow, like that's cool.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, Breath of the Wild kind of did that. It wasn't great.
Yeah, but it's still.
But like the people have been bringing up the examples of the horses, whereas like horses would graze in pastures.
Yep.
And if predators, whether it's enemies or the player, walk up to them, they run away just like real horses do. And so it's like if we have something to that extent, I think it could be really cool. I think that people have gone way too hard into like the theories of why they chose the starters. I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't seen that. No.
It's like
I'm fine because what's the grass bird?
Decidui.
Yeah, Decidui.
Or Rowlet.
That was my.
Rowlet is the name of him.
But that was the last one. That was my main in Sun and Moon, and I loved him. So
it was like they chose the Rowlet line because this is all in like it's supposed to be basically like feudal Japan.
Yeah.
But in Sinnoh.
Yeah.
They chose Rowlet because he's an archer. They chose Samurai, and then they chose Cyndaquil and Typhlosion. Farts. I can't remember what they said, but it was another like it played along with.
That's interesting. I hadn't.
Yes, it's like you see, but like people are sweaty. Like, I've never seen more sweat come off my freaking phone screen from these people coming up with theories as to like different Pokemon and different like blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
I was like, man, go outside, please.
Yeah. I think speaking of things like Breath of the Wild, and the obvious comparisons everybody's making to this is one good thing, and we've talked about this before, is that it seems like Game Freak is moving into Nintendo's headquarters. Nintendo's headquarters.
Yeah, it's confirmed.
Yeah. So that makes me feel better. That makes me breathe easier when it comes to this game because a little, but it's better than thinking Game Freak on their own. It just because they did Breath of the Wild, they did all that.
Yeah.
And they're doing Breath of the Wild 2, so their mindset is already in that place. It makes me feel a little better that this game will go well rather than if they were on their own.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the fact that Nintendo can have its monetization clause gripping them can also it kind of gets into the struggle between a game being too company driven.
Yeah.
But I do think that them being at Nintendo and having more resources, having more people, now that Nintendo is like finally like, all right, this is what we need to put a lot of time into.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to put, I mean, you can put some stuff into, like, Mario and them being furries and then getting into stupid cat costumes or whatever. But, like, these games are bringing in, huh?
I said, that's a good power-up. That was, like, my favorite power-up in 3D World.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not about furries. Apparently that makes one of us at this table.
No. That makes two. Don't put that on me. Just because I like the cat bell, don't put that on me.
Just because I like the bell and how it hangs right from his neck and it dings like he's a real kitty cat doesn't mean that I'm a furry. Okay. So I do think that it's a good thing, though.
Yeah.
But Sword and Shield missed the bar by such a frustrating degree that it's really hard to put your faith in anything that they do.
Yeah.
Like,
I can at least admire them for being ambitious with Legends because overall Sword and Shield,
it's about time they mix something up.
Yeah, if I could summarize Sword and Shield, it just
years.
would be lazy. I think that the word lazy fits Sword and Shield overall, and at least Pokemon Legends looks like it's not going to be. It's something they're mixing it up. It's not going to be lazy. It's not going to be tried and true. Whether it crashes or whether it's good, at least it's something new.
It's not lazy concept-wise.
Yeah,
I think that's it's in terms of concept and what it could be. It is a very not lazy.
Yeah,
but you're totally right. Sword and Shield was just like, it was insane.
One thing that I actually just saw today, we've got all of this news of the Switch Pro. Again, it happens, 2-3 times a year. The rumor comes back up and it's, here it comes, it's coming out, and then nothing ever happens. So I'm taking this with a massive grain of salt. I don't think it's going to happen. But this article makes a good point. It is Forbes, as it would be, to make this point. But title of it is Nintendo Switch is holding back games like Pokémon Arceus. And the point is, we've got the Switch, which does what? It does 720p handheld, 1080p docked, but it is not 60 frames. So on here they've got, like, this game could look so much better. And it could, but it doesn't. I don't really care to get a new Switch. But anyway, they're pointing out.
No, I don't want to buy a new Switch. I just bought a PS5.
Yeah, I know, right?
Damn.
They're saying, new Switch is effectively 2 generations behind Sony and Microsoft. I don't think that's true. It's one.
It could be.
It came out with the PS4 and everything. I had a PS4 way before. The PS4 came out in 2013. I got a Switch in 2017.
Well, like, in terms of hardware.
Yeah, in terms of hardware, because they had mid-generation
compared
cycles.
to, like, I mean, if you compare Switch to even, honestly, I'd say a baseline PlayStation 4.
Oh, it's worse than baseline. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, so Nintendo, if they're gonna have something, a Switch Pro, they've got to catch up, because I mean, and I feel like it's funny, side tangent, we say all this, and Nintendo is still like keeping up with sales of like
killing
PlayStation
it,
5 and
crushing
Xbox Series X.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah,
I don't understand how Nintendo is as profitable as they are.
It's the games,
and aside from a few gems, they have been lazy recently.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
It's insane.
I think that they really had a fire lit under them after the failure of the Wii U, and then they knocked it out of the park with Breath of the Wild. Mario Odyssey was a good game. Whether it's one of the best of the 3D ones, that's up to.
I think it was just a solid, okay game.
Yeah, but it was a good game as a launch title.
I mean,
I guess it didn't come
as
out
a launch title.
It came out October or November of the same year, because I got it for Christmas.
Oh, okay. It was an alright game.
Yeah, but the people in this article, the author of the Forbes article, is saying that the Nintendo Switch is very clearly at its graphical limit. It says Nintendo is even getting lapped by mobile games like Genshin Impact in terms of visuals.
Yeah.
And that is true. And they're saying that the Breath of the Wild aesthetic does not work for this game so far as what we've seen. And I don't disagree. They don't really go full into the Breath of the Wild visuals. Not the cel-shaded look that the Breath of the Wild has. Like, this is kind of like a middle ground where it doesn't really fit. But then again, we've got, the article saying, hey, we've got these rumors and the next Switch is going to be, it's going to be 4K and locked at 60 and do all this. And I find that extremely hard to believe in a handheld. No. Because, well, we've got like the Razer handheld. We've got the Razer handheld and everything, but it's so much more expensive than the Switch. I mean, for a $300 price point, you're getting what you paid for. The PlayStation 5 is $500 or $400 and $500, and so you're getting dated stuff, but it's at a cheaper price. And then you got the Switch Lite, which has to play all of the Switch games because they can't be like, oh, thanks for buying the Switch Lite, and it just came out last year, and they'd be like, screw you, we've got a Switch Pro, and Switch Lite can't play these games. So, and the Switch couldn't either. And they did the same thing with the 3DS. They had the new 3DS and the 3DS, and the new 3DS could play all of the 3DS games, but there were some games that were only playable on the new 3DS because of the hardware. Yeah. And so they could do the same thing, but I think that would frustrate a lot of people because the Switch Lite just came out last year. I think last year, yeah.
Something like that.
And they're still releasing new Switches. Like the Mario Switch just came out. The Animal Crossing Switch came out last year.
Wasn't that selling for like, it was like crazy expensive because it was like $400.
Yeah.
Something
it was
stupid.
Yeah. And then it resales for way more than that. So,
yeah.
But I just find that hard to believe unless they make the alternative to the Switch Lite and it's the Switch whatever docked version, and they just crank up the power on that. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that I can think of where they would be going that route. But I still find 4K 60 locked hard to believe because my PS5 doesn't play every game on 4K, and it sometimes dips below 60. So I have a hard time believing that Nintendo's making something like that.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah. There's the idea. Nintendo's in a really weird position because they are so technologically behind. The fact that they have not figured out a good way to run their servers is honestly insane.
Yeah.
And in our trailer, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, one of the things that we want to talk about is whether or not we should allow gaming companies to make bad games.
Yeah.
Because with all the technology that we have, if we can make cars just drive themselves, pick us up, and we can pass out in the front seat, and you're trying to tell me that you cannot make a good gaming server, online server, it's insane.
Yeah. Okay. The servers, I 100% agree with. Just like Sony said, we're done, and we're going to host all of our cloud gaming on Microsoft stuff. Their main competitor. They went to Microsoft and said, you do it better, we're going to do it like that. So I think that when you're talking about things like servers and networks and things like that, I agree that that is ridiculous. But I think it's a thin line when you're talking about bad games, because I don't think it was Square's fault for making a bad Avengers game with all the microtransactions. I don't necessarily think it's, Treyarch and Infinity Ward's fault for making horrible Call of Duty games a couple of years ago. I don't know if they're good now. I don't play them, but back when they had only loot boxes, things like that. That's like Activision's fault.
Yeah,
fault. That's Activision's fault, and that's their publisher's fault, and not, which they should still be held accountable. But I'm saying it's a thin line on blaming the company, the development company, and the publisher, because the publisher is usually the one that has them by the balls and says, "You're going to do what I want."
That's what I'm saying. Like, Nintendo's in such a weird position.
Yeah, because they do it all in house.
Yeah,
they do 100%. So does Sony.
So it could be. I mean, we're kind of running a bit short on time. These games could be just the type of push. I mean, like, there hasn't been a lot of like hype, even though the Switch has been selling well. There hasn't been a lot of hype for new Switch games, I feel like, in a while. This is the first, like,
they pretty much took all of 2020 off. There was like no new games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paper
so it's
Mario,
like
Animal Crossing in the beginning.
to Animal Crossing, which
Yeah.
is surprisingly as big as it is.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that can be. There's a lot of things to get into talking about Nintendo, talking about Pokemon, talking about Game Freak. And there's a lot of unanswered questions. There's a lot of optimism for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Like you said, Game Freak moving in.
Yep.
The desire to be faithful in the remakes. I think that's really important because it shows that they want to give the people what they want, which doesn't sound like Game Freak. Because they did not give the people what they wanted with Sword and Shield. I could suck my nuts for that one. And I think that them trying to make new things and do something new with Legends, I think that those are all good things. But it's like they've just built, specifically Game Freak, has built up a reputation of not fully hitting the mark.
Yeah.
They're close with a lot of games. They are real close. And then other times, they didn't even freaking pull the bow all the way back. They let it go when it hit 10 feet. And that was freaking Sword and Shield.
Yep.
They need to release Gun, or else those two games are going to go down
save it.
as like some of the worst games ever.
Yeah.
Give us Gun, Nintendo. So their Game Freak, the fact that they just have sucked recently. Nintendo is kind of an intense corporate, and Nintendo prices their. I mean, the fact that this isn't really specifically about Pokemon; it's just a Nintendo thing. But the fact that like Breath of the Wild is still $60.
Oh, it hasn't dropped.
Is wild.
Yeah,
it is in and of itself wild.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they release older games that come out and they're $60. They release things that on the Wii U were $30. Same game on the Switch, $60.
So it's like Nintendo is low key one of the most cash grab companies.
Yeah.
And that floods. I mean, that bleeds into the entire.
Yeah.
Everything that they own beneath, to the sides. So it's like Nintendo's in a weird position. They could knock it out of the park. Like they could really knock it out of the park, or it could kind of, be that the Switch did fantastic. Yeah. And then after that, they kind of just rode it too long. Like I think they rode the handheld stuff. I'm glad that they're getting away from handheld stuff because nobody freaking cared.
That's what they did for a long time. That was their
that
niche.
was their thing.
Yeah.
That was their thing. Was we're just gonna be handheld, and they rode it way too long. And that's why people are so excited for Let's Go and for Sword and Shield. Drop the ball. So there's a lot of things to be excited about, but there's also a lot of things to be nervous about.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting time.
It's true. We'll see.
Well, I mean, unless you got anything else.
No, that's it. My rant's done.
Yeah, so we're done ranting.
It's my stress
which
reliever
means,
for the week.
Yeah, my forehead vein is finally left after a week of not being able to do anything.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening to the first episode of the Digital Waypoint podcast.
Yeah.
If you want to hit us up at our socials, Mason will probably correct me. Twitter, it's DigiWaypoint, DIGI Waypoint, at DigiWaypoint.
Yep.
And then on Instagram, Digital Waypoint.
That's right.
Oh, wow. Look at that. I did
Look at that.
All right. I feel good. I always forget. Yeah, we're super thankful that you guys are listening. We're excited to continue to do more of this.
Yeah.
Mason, you got any feelings?
Only good feelings.
Only good feelings.
Only good.
That's what we're sending you off with. Good feelings, good vibes, only ever. Party hard. We're excited to continue to do more of this stuff, and we'll see y'all when we see y'all on the next episode. And with that being said, I think you guys need to understand what time it is. It's time for that outro great music! Woo!